at the weekend. It came about in League Two. Accrington Stanley were hosting Wrexham. Now, before kick-off, Wrexham thought they'd be cute and they tweeted about an increase in ticket prices applied by Accrington Stanley. For the away Wrexham fans, an increase of £5 a ticket. You might think, well, that's reasonable, isn't it? But it drew a response from Accrington Stanley owner Andy Holt, who called Wrexham's tweet stupid, mistimed. And that led to a bit of a pile-on for Andy from fans, not just Wrexham fans, but other fans as well, regarding ticket pricing in general. And it's a row that has continued to simmer this week. It's fair to say peace has not broken out between Wrexham and Accrington Stanley. I am delighted to say that Andy Holt, Accrington Stanley's owner, has agreed to come on and join Simon and myself live on the show. Andy, good morning.
Good morning. How are you going on, chaps?
We're good. Mr. Jordan is beside me. Andy, outline first of all for us why the ticket price increase was put in place. What was it and what did you take it to?
Well, ticket price. Our ticket prices are £20 a game all season. But where we have a big police bill, or where we expect a big police bill, then we increase the price. Now, that police bill comes about by the away club's behaviour, not by our behaviour, because we don't get any police bills. So the analogy is, if I sell you a bucket for £1 and it costs me £1 to deliver it, the bucket's £2. If I sell you a bucket for £1 and you come and collect it, that bucket's £1. Now, I don't sell it to £1.50 to both of you, because the guy that's collecting it for £1 will stop buying off me. So if the cost of selling a ticket or a fiver a ticket because of increased costs, then it has to be paid by somebody, and I'm not paying it. So
right, okay.
Police put the bills into us, and they decide what the costs are going to be. And it's got to be found somewhere.
Right, so Andy, I know Simon's going to come in a second. Why were Wrexham so unhappy with what you did? I mean, they decided to be cute. Wrexham, with their Hollywood owners, of course, these days, they went on Twitter and had a bit of a swipe at you, and you objected to that, right?
Just a little bit, yeah. Listen, I've got note against Wrexham and Hollywood owners and all the rest of it, but if they think they're going to get the kicks by tweeting about my club and one of the smaller clubs in the league, just because if I'm selling good, in a good space, then it's not going to work. And it was mistimed, because you don't want any aggro before match starting. So like there's like a number rule before match. You don't put anything out. You don't do anything that's inflammatory, because everybody's trying to keep a lid on it during match.
I see
it was mistimed.
Yeah.
If it had done it after match, I wouldn't have responded. But we're talking it down and keeping everything peaceful. We're all fans and what have you, but the general rule is bad behaviour costs money, and them that behave bad need to be paying it.
Andy, I mean, I get the sentiments of the irritation of the manner in which they've conducted themselves, and also I get it more with the fact they've done it before the game, because it can inflame tensions. What I don't get is the commercial logic behind creating a situation around an additional cost that comes with a huge benefit, which is ultimately, if I'm right, and obviously I don't study Accrington Stanley's attendances, but I've just had a look out of curiosity, and if your average attendance is 2,500 a game, and an away support is bringing 2,500 down, which ultimately inflates the revenues you get for the game, and your average ticket is £20, and they're bringing 2,000 away fans more than the average club does, you're already bringing 40 grand of additional revenue in. And if the policing costs, which you do in conjunction with the police and your safety officer, is 10 grand, you're still 30 grand better off by a club bringing more support than every other club in the division brings.
Is that true, Andy? You were going to make money anyway, is what Simon's saying?
Let's put it this way, then. That's like saying, then, if you bring a lot of fans, we'll reduce the ticket price. So if we charge £20 a ticket, no, listen to me. If we charge £20 a ticket, but the cost of selling that ticket is an extra fiver, we're getting £15 a ticket.
No, I understand your principle, but I'm not understanding the overall picture. Because if you get, I don't know what you get on average, but I've done it in my own head and said, I wonder if they get maybe 300 or 400 average away fans coming to a game. And if that's right, and someone else brings 2,500, if somebody said to me, I'm going to give you 50 grand's worth of revenue and it's going to cost you 10 grand to get it, I'm going to say, that's fair enough, I'll take that. You're saying, no. That 50 grand's of additional revenue, which is going to cost me 10 grand, I want it to be 60 grand.
Well, it isn't going to cost me 10 grand.
Well, you said the police
Well,
cost me
listen,
12 grand.
Listen, next time you go and see Madonna, put them to all their costs and see if they'll let you out a ticket for a lower price.
Yeah, but I'm not talking about Madonna. I'm talking about the collective. The collective.
No.
Did you categorise this game at the beginning of the season? Because I mean, obviously, we all categorise our games, Andy, don't we? We put them as category A's, category B's, categories, or whatever you're doing in these days. Did Wrexham get told at the beginning of the season that the thermal stock you're going to send them is going to have a ticket price which is 20% bigger or 25% bigger because of the categorisation of the game?
Well, I don't know exactly when that was put to them, but at the beginning of the season, it was always going to be a category game. We'll go through it with police, and then.
So the higher category games that you have
are down to police bills.
Yeah, I understand what they're down to, but as far as the ticket stock is concerned, all the clubs that fill into a category A game, which is a high-profile game with more risk attached to it and ultimately with more requirements to it, all the clubs that you have relationships with, the other 23 clubs in the division, are all denoted and know what their ticket pricing is going to be.
Yeah, and it's decided early on in season.
So Wrexham would have known this. Wrexham would have known this at the beginning of the season.
They would.
So if Wrexham had an issue with it, they should have told you at the beginning of the season.
Well, they had tickets for weeks down at their office, so they've known it and had tickets with fair price.
So they're being a bit facetious with you, aren't they?
Well, they charge £24 for every match. Do you know what I mean? Now, for me, we need to link bad behaviour to cost, because there is a direct link. So what we're saying is, so let's put it to another way then. If a club comes to visit us and cost the police is 20 grand or 50 grand, what do we do?
No, I get the logic. I do understand it, but
well, again, what are you arguing for then?
But because I'm arguing with you because I don't think you're right. I think you've created a storm in a teacup. If your pricing policy has been determined,
no.
Well, let me answer the question. Hang on, Andy. You just said to me, "What am I arguing for?" Let me give you the bloody answer, and then you can tell me why I'm arguing the wrong way, right?
Go on, then.
So the bottom line is if I would look at it from my point of view, we've both been in the same situation. I've been in a situation, with a slightly bigger football club, but notwithstanding it, it's irrelevant. We've all got our scales of cost, right? Every football club is valuable and we've all got a cost base. I wouldn't do what you've done, because I would look at it and go, I tell you what, this club, if it were Millwall, because Millwall used to bring 6,000 fans down and I used to let them have it. I knew the policing costs were going to go through the ceiling, but I also knew that my average away attendance was 2,000 or 3,000. When I got Millwall down, did the cost implications of the policing get superseded by the revenue that I generated? If the answer was yes, and it was a multiple that was significant, I wouldn't have started this fight.
So, listen, this is the fight, by the way. This is how I run a business.
Yep.
So it's not a fight. I can charge what I want for tickets to anybody and everybody.
So what are you worried about then?
It's my club. Well, because
you were more annoyed about their pre-match response to you, weren't they?
And I agree with him. I would be as well.
You thought that was cheeky, Andy, right?
I thought it were out of order. Yeah, I really thought it were out of order, because we'd gone out as media the week before, dumbing down any issues. So for them to put that out a couple of hours.
Did you pick up the phone to them, Andy, as a chairman, to Sean Harvey and go, "Oi, what's that about?"
Listen, don't worry, I did tell him.
Right.
Yeah, and I think what annoys you as well is that the former chief exec of the EFL, Sean Harvey, is employed by Wrexham, and that his part in this annoyed you as well. I know Sean well, so do you, but his part in this annoyed you.
He just smirked. When I collared him about it, but. At the end of the day, they didn't need to do it, and they didn't need to get retweeted. Around 21 million viewers of his followers, Ryan Reynolds, the world over. It just makes us out to be a thieving club, or a club that takes money off fans. Remember, any costs that we have to be paid by somebody, and 9 times out of 10 they're paid by me. So any fans that we have, any cost we have has to be paid by somebody.
How much more did you make from the game as a result of what you did?
I don't know
the cost of the police bill.
Yeah, you what?
Well, the cost of the police bill. If the police bill was 12, was your police bill 12,000 quid?
Something like that, yeah.
Yes, if you put a fiver on top of it, if you put a fiver on top of 2,500 fans, you're there and thereabouts. So that's what he's done. And I get it. I get entirely, but the optics of it are...
He's doing his best for his club.
Well, he is. I wouldn't have got involved with an unsavoury social media activity between myself and Wrexham.
But that wasn't Andy's doing.
No, but
Wrexham went first on that.
I wouldn't have responded to it. I would have risen above it. But that's just
Simon,
style.
come on.
I promise
Simon,
you, it's style.
Simon, listen.
Go on, Andy.
Listen, no matter what you do, let me tell you this: if we sell a ticket for £20, we don't get £20 because you've VAT. we don't get 20 quid because of concessions, so we probably net about, last time I looked, it was £12.88 net. So you're saying that I want to knock another £5 off that for Wrexham fans and net £7.88?
No, you're getting the volume, Andy, but I also understand that if you've set the pricing at the beginning of the season and it's already been established between the clubs, it's an unnecessary grandstanding from Wrexham at your expense.
Exactly.
Yeah,
but apart
I get that.
But apart from that, if you were saying that it's 20 quid no matter what the costs are of selling
but you're not listening to me, Andy. I understand your logic on a game-by-game basis, but if your average attendance is 200 or 300 away fans and someone brings 2,500 and that brings in 10 times the revenue and it costs you 25% more to get it, in terms of your net effect is that you're actually getting 30,000 out of the game and you normally get about 5.
All right.
I don't understand your logic.
All right. Well, let me put it another way then. When Millwall came to visit you and you got a mountain of costs.
Yeah.
Yeah, it reduced your income from them fans.
No, it increased my income because my average attendance, was 3,000 from away fans, Andy. If I get 6, and the cost implications of those 6 are a multiple of the cost that I get from the police, then I've made a bigger deal out of the equation.
Listen, I'm counting my fingers and thumbs here. Andy, here's the situation. I'm sure you can identify with Simon, and Simon, I'm sure you can identify with Andy. As an owner, Simon, as a former owner, you kind of get where Andy's coming from.
Listen,
if there's an opportunity, I think it was the cheekiness aspect that he's annoyed about Wrexham. And Andy, if I may be so bold, how much of your own money have you put into Accrington Stanley since you owned the club?
Well, I've put 5 million in, and it's all in infrastructure. It's had 7 million spent on infrastructure.
And yet you might be selling up, am I right?
But it is for sale because, as these Wrexham's and not just Wrexham. It's not all about Wrexham. This is principles for me.
But it's hard work. And I tell you something, he's a bloody good chairman. He's a sensible voice. I've seen him speak on many occasions. Just because we're having a different opinion, because I have a different view on it. He has a different view on it. We're grown up, so we can walk away from the conversation going, we've got different views. But he's a proper football club owner and a proper chairman. And like all of us, you get to the end of the road and go, what am I doing this for? So I can get a bunch of people telling me how I should do it better.
I think you should take that, Andy. No,
listen. Yeah. No, listen. While he's being all righteous, our mate to you, Simon.
Oh, you can sod off then.
If there were no police bill against Millwall, and the police didn't have to come because there were no trouble, you could have given them a tenner off.
Yeah.
Couldn't you? Same difference.
No, but my prices were already set.
Was magnificent. That's the first time in a long time I've seen him stop for words.
I was thinking my way through that one.
It's a great club, is ours, and it's a small club. It's a small club, and it's a community club, and we don't want people coming that are aggro. I want to make that link. I want people to know that if they behave.
So take the praise I just gave you and don't give me the bit about being righteous.
and Andy, I'll tell you something, mate. It'll be all the poorer without you. Have you got a buyer? Are you close to selling?
No, when listen, in football, it's about money, whether we like it or not. And you've got both success from bottom to top at leagues, whether it's non-league, whether it's Premier League or wherever.
Sure. I was just going to say, Andy, we really appreciate you coming on because I know you were thinking about it, and I'm delighted that you said yes. So well done. It's a long time since I've seen the man to my right stop for words. Andy, well done. Thanks for joining us. Andy Holt there, the owner of Accrington Stanley. You're kind of agreeing to disagree. I know where you're going with your argument. I know where he's going. But, I mean, Simon, you respect him for what he's trying to achieve. I
respect any football club owner that runs a football club, puts their money in and gets a thankless task and little reward for it.
Yeah.
I disagree with the principles of... But the only thing that's different is if he told Wrexham the price at the beginning of the season, that argument could have been had 3 months ago.
Sure thing.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the TalkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. TalkSPORT.